They served for us. They sacrificed for us. Their stories deserve to be told. Every military veteran has a story to tell. Join our host, Jay Garstecki, as we honor the stories of our true American heroes, one soldier at a time. The mission today is Operation Healing Heroes. Brought to you by Great Clips.
Lake Independence, known for its tranquility and first-rate fishing spots. Of the 10,000 lakes Minnesota has to offer, Independence fits just right for our day on the water with World War II Army veteran Don Halverson, a true American hero.
Well, I think today we're going to catch a lot of fish. I think we've got a beautiful day out here.
On the dock, host Jay Garstecki covers some ground rules.
Whatever you do, you're not allowed to outfish the host. So I have clippers in my pocket. I'm just going to clip your line if you start catching too many fish. Is that all right?
Hit them with a stick.
Hit whatever it takes. Beautiful here in Minnesota, isn't it?
I've lived here almost 100 years. 98, number 99 coming up.
You heard that right. Don Halverson is 98 years old, but he doesn't let that stop him from staying active.
He mows his own lawn, does his own gardening. He shovels his snow, not a snow blower. I've even tried to help him shovel snow, and I've gotten there at 5 in the morning, and he's already out there shoveling.
You get tired of sitting by yourself at home, out to VFW or Malone's or lunch with the kids here and there. Between cutting grass and weeding my garden and shoveling snow in the wintertime.
In short, he's still got it.
We'll race you, hurry up!
We're right where that sun and clouds are, so there's a couple points here that we can try and hit for fishing. But we'll give it a shot. Let's see. Have you ever used a spinning rod like this before, or no?
No.
No? Okay, I'll show you how to use that.
The old hand crankers.
No problem.
Don grew up in South Minneapolis near Minnehaha Falls, with the Mississippi River quite literally in his backyard.
Well, when I was a kid, that's where we lived, right along the river in the Minnehaha Creek, so that's where we fished all the time, Lake Nokomis.
Okay. And what'd you guys fish for? Anything that was biting?
Whatever you catch.
There you go. That's the right way to do it.
Don graduated high school in January of 1942. Both he and his fellow male students knew that it wouldn't be long before they were called to war.
When we got out of high school in 42, war was just starting, you know. We said we were going to get our call one day or the other. I just got a letter in the mail to report down there, and then from there you go to Fort Snelling and you're on your way. I was the first one to leave, and I ended up going to Italy and Europe, and all the rest of my buddies went after me. They all went to Pacific. Took basic training in the swamps of Florida. Naturally, I go to the mountains in Italy.
A little different, huh?
After basic training, Don headed out to Virginia, from where he was to be deployed to Europe.
Pulled in there and wondering what the hell kind of place we're getting all fenced up, and 2 guys on each side with Tommy guns. And
Really?
You wouldn't even know the camp was there. All the tents and everything were under big pine trees, you know. And
Okay.
got our shots there and everything, and got on the ship, and away we went.
And did you know where you were going when you headed out? No?
Just going to Europe, and then later on they said it was Italy.
Little did he know, Don would partake in some of the most intense battles on the back half of the war, fighting his way up the Italian peninsula. He would get his first taste of action on the ship he was deployed on.
There was a big bang, and it almost sounded like, you know, there was no insulation on those Liberty ships, and
Yeah.
got up on deck and found out they fired one of the 3-inch guns. Half a dozen German planes attacked the convoy.
Just a preview of what would become a long, brutal 2 years.
not catching anything. You getting anything?
I got nothing.
Okay, we're even.
Fishing today is a little slow.
I think you got a weed there.
A far cry from Don's first trip to Europe in 1942. Don boarded a Liberty ship to head out to Italy. On one of the first nights aboard, a loud bang.
Got up on deck and found out they fired one of the 3-inch guns. There's half a dozen German planes attacked the convoy. Like the 4th of July, boy, all the tracers going up. Seemed like it lasted a long time, but it wasn't more than 20 minutes, and our crew got credit for knocking one of them down. Wow. And they left, and then we took off, and no trouble until we landed in Naples.
During the war, Don served with the 34th Infantry Division, also known as Red Bull.
They just had their 100th anniversary in 2017 because they were in World War I in the 34th. Goes back a long ways. From then on, it was one mountain after the other.
Don and his platoon were fighting along the Gustav Line, the main German defensive line that stretched across the narrow portion of Italy.
From Naples, it was 3 crossing the Volturno River, and then Mount Pantano. That was about the tallest mountain I'd climb. One company went up there first, and then we were the second company to relieve them, and one went after us, another one after 4 companies, and the Germans finally pulled off. And the first day it was kind of quiet, and then the Germans figured that there must be replacements coming, so they started dropping mortars there day and night. And it didn't rain, so we run out of water and food, and you don't sleep for a week. And
Wow.
and they said, when our week was up, they said, well, we're get ready, the other outfits coming up. We thought, God, they're going to get clobbered, but it was all quiet, and we made it down all right.
Unfortunately for Don, this was only the beginning of the intense action he would experience while deployed. The next battle would be held at the commune of Cassino in southern Italy, then Axis-controlled. Cassino acted as a blockade to keep the Allies out of Rome. It was eventually taken in 1944.
So I lost just about my whole platoon at Cassino, and sat on the side of a hill resting up under some pine trees, and you could see the city of Cassino about half a mile to our left. And that's where we come up a ravine, and the 1st and 2nd got across, run across an open area to the castle. 1st and 2nd, part of the 3rd got across all right, and then it broke daylight when the last to come across, and my whole platoon was single file down the hill, so the Germans knew where it was coming from. They just dropped mortars up and down there, no place to hide.
Oh.
So that's why I ended up with 5 guys left out of 40.
During the 4-month-long conflict, the Allies experienced over 50,000 casualties. It was forever known as one of the bloodiest battles of World War II.
And I was one of the lucky ones. They kept missing me, so somebody upstairs looking after me, I guess.
If you'd like to see more behind-the-scenes content, follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You got one? Ah, you got a little bluegill there. Not bad, a little panfish, a little bluegill, pretty, huh? So tell me a little bit about the living conditions that you had when you were in the service.
Had a bath in November of 43 and a shower in November of 44.
Not bad.
Otherwise, you find a stream or a pond to get in, or a helmet full of water to throw in your face and under your armpits.
That's right, 2 showers in 2 years.
Had a portable unit they'd bring up because we'd step the mountain for the whole month, like a farmer's hay rack.
As you may have guessed, staying squeaky clean isn't quite the #1 priority while overseas at war. However, if you did need to clean up, there were a couple of ways to do it. Some soldiers had portable units. Most needed to be resourceful to stay relatively clean. Tubs and buckets found in towns were used by the passing GIs. Typically, a nearby stream did the job.
I imagine it was difficult to stay dry when you guys were up in the mountains, right? I mean,
Well, when you attack a mountain, well, you usually cross a stream or something, you know. You send out a patrol, and when the patrol was out, well, you quit take off your boots and wring out your stockings and stick them up in your helmet and take a dry pair out and put in your feet, and that saved your feet. A lot of guys never done it. They get up there, they're cold, and take them off a few weeks later back at camp, and their toes would swell up and turn black, you know, sometimes.
Really?
Yeah, doesn't take much.
This clever trick was but one of many survival skills employed by Don while he was in Europe. After his harrowing battle at Cassino, Don was sent back to Naples, where he would eventually board a landing craft and head to Anzio. On his way there, he saw another fireworks-like show.
Yeah, that's just when Mount Vesuvius erupted. So that was quite a show. We stood on the back of the landing craft and more set there.
After a few more long months of fighting, it was time to break out. This is when Don experienced one of the closest calls in his time deployed.
We took off and going up to a creek, and they're supposed to take some ground, some buildings. I got up there and I thought, well, I'll take a swig of water before so my guys could catch up, and took my canteen out and tipped it up, and it was empty. A bullet hole through my canteen. And
That's how
so I
close
come
it
that
was.
close to after we broke out there, and then they're down through Bologna and fought our way up to the Swiss border.
It was on this trip that Don had a 1 in a million encounter with the other 34th.
They had spotted a German convoy up near the Swiss border, and we unloaded there and went up over a hill, and there's a big open area. Division was coming along a road there, trying to find a place to cross the river, I guess, to get north. And it ended up, they were the German, I was in the 34th Minnesota Division. This was the German 34th.
Really?
And that was about the end of the war. We got up by Swiss border, and on May 2nd, the captain got the call, and how out the war was over.
What was that feeling like?
Good. We looked at the nice blue sunny morning and clouds and looked down nice lake, and we hadn't had a bath in about 5 months, so stripped off our clothes and jumped in the lake.
Did you?
Probably killed every fish that was in there. Took our long johns off, you know, after you've had them on about 5 months.
After years of fighting, a brief moment of celebration, and the perfect time for shower number 3.
You sleep on the ground for 2 years, and then you get those goose down mattresses about that thick, you know, and just disappear.
How long after the war was over did you finally make it back to the States?
It was almost 5 months.
5 months.
We were there after the war, you know, we had 4 or 5 months just enjoying the quiet, no more fighting. So I think that helped to get the guys home too.
After 2 years of chaotic deployment with several harrowing battles, he forged ahead with his life. This is where he'd start his next assignment, family.
So as a fisherman, this is how you make a 6-inch fish a 12-inch fish.
Yeah, just get up close and then
Yeah,
it's bigger.
see how big he got?
It's embarrassing to
As you can probably tell by now, Don's a pretty active guy. So it makes sense that he'd waste no time finding the love of his life after returning home from the war.
Well, I married my wife there and met her in 46 on a blind date and married in 47. And we had 63 years together.
During that time, Don worked hard, not just to provide for his family, but to ensure they grew up in a family-oriented household. This is something that son Tom remembers distinctively.
Came home and ended up working for Chevrolet for 35 years. And you know, that was a very busy type job. You worked 6 days a week. He made it a point to be home for dinner. Even though he had to work Saturdays, he still made it a point to be home to have a family dinner, which was, I think, very important nowadays. You know, we weren't off. Then once that was done, we were free to go. I mean, we were out the door with our friends or doing whatever, but we gathered at dinner and made sure that we saw each other and we had a discussion and talked about whatever, you know, for the day. And then, you know, he is able to carry that through, and I think he brought a good work ethic to not only myself, but then I pass that along to my boys and so forth, that, you know, you put in an effort and you'll get rewarded for it.
But Don's never been about all work and no play. He loves to dance, and he's an incredible bowler.
You like to go bowling?
Yeah, been doing it for 30 years.
Have you? Are you part of a league or anything?
We got the senior league.
Senior league?
We had a bowl on Monday and Thursday, but I dropped Monday just one time a week is enough for me now.
Okay. What's your average?
I just bowled Thursday for the first time this year. I had a 135 and a 140 something and a 130 again.
Well, you beat me because I'm
So
not...
about 136 average, I guess it was, for those 3 games.
I'd say that's pretty good, huh?
I think, you know, the secret to his life really is, I think, having a schedule. He has things to look forward to each week. He's not one that's sitting around watching TV and waiting for something to happen or someone to call. He actually goes out and does stuff. He frequently goes to the VFW to visit friends and talk with them. He goes bowling, he goes polka dancing on Sundays. So, I mean, he's got something that he looks forward to each day of the week. He's got something planned.
Tommy's my agent, more or less. He's the one that gets me all this stuff.
He schedules you, huh?
They call him and...
For reasons son Tom explains, fishing doesn't always quite fit into the schedule.
You know, I think it's more out of convenience that he hasn't, right? He's not on a lake, he doesn't own a boat. The access to fishing gear is not available to him, so therefore it's kind of disappeared out of his lifestyle.
This is something we can help with.
I want to make sure that I get you this. This is a custom built St. Croix rod for you.
Holy
And it
crap.
says,
has
your name on there, and it says an appreciation of your sacrifice and service. And now you got your own red, white, and blue rod. And
Now I got to start fishing then, huh?
yeah, and you wouldn't be complete without your own jersey. So now you're going to get to not only feel cool because you're a great fisherman, which you've proven, you've outfished the pro, but you actually get your own jersey now, so you actually look good too.
It'll be like you know, light up in the night.
That's right.
Huh?
Don Halverson shares a story of hope. A man who, against all odds, fought up the Italian peninsula right out of high school and returned home to cultivate a family that has since thrived for generations on. Don's advice? Enjoy life, because as he says,
No guarantee on tomorrow.
If you'd like to personally thank a veteran that you've seen in one of our episodes, or nominate a veteran to be featured in a future episode, log on to our website, operationhealingheroes.org, and click on the nominate button.